What's up, guys? We're back with another video. Happy Wednesday. We are headed up to our current project for the day job, doing a kitchen remodel. I started this job on Monday, and demo day one revealed some secrets of the kitchen that have changed the plan for the room. And so yesterday we took it off while the owners decided what they wanted to do. And today we are on our way for demo day 2. And so I figured this would be a perfect opportunity and relevant in a couple different ways for us to talk about how important it is to be adaptable in business, in any sort of situation where, everything happening is constantly changing, and how that applies to the card market, how that applies to your day job, your everyday life, and how that skill, because it really is a skill, it's not something you are born with, I don't think, for the most part at least. But how that skill is really important, and it's a real game changer for your income, your success, and your happiness, really, also. So, just to start out a little more generally, I would just say that I wasn't always good at dealing with changes in, especially, the remodeling business, which is my main career. I do house remodeling, residential remodels, kitchens, baths, stuff like that. And I started in this business in a way that most people don't. When I started my business, I pretty much only knew how to paint. I'd had a handful of painting gigs. I was pretty good at painting. I had really, really basic carpentry skills, like could use a skill saw, could use a sawzall, could cut a reasonably straight line with those. But I really came into the business with not much experience compared to other people that, your typical person that goes out and starts a remodeling business or construction business. I did not have that level of experience or skill. And the rest of the skills that I have now, I do drywall, tons of drywall. I do drywall finishing and taping. I do flooring, LVP, and I do a little bit of tile here and there. I do cabinetry. I do countertop installs sometimes. I do trim work all the time, and I still do painting and other odds and ends as well. Fixture installs, everything related to bathrooms and kitchens. But those skills, all of those skills, were things that I had to learn over time. And oftentimes I had to learn those on a job site, on the fly, watching a few YouTube videos the day before trying that new skill for the first handful of times I did it. That was how it went for a lot of these things. And it was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of upfront telling customers, hey, I'll give you a better deal than if you went and found some guy that's been doing this for 10 years. But just to let you know up front, this is my experience and skill level with it. And customers, as long as you're upfront with that, sometimes they want the professional, sometimes they're willing to pay extra for that level of experience and skill, and sometimes they are happy to get a deal. And I often find that a customer, as long as they know that you take your job seriously and you take your results seriously, they're willing to take the chance on you and give you that room to grow an experience. So that's how I got all my experience, well, most of my experience and most of my skills in the remodeling business, is doing it that way, learning on the fly. And that experience over the past almost 7 years at this point, something like that, that experience has helped me grow my adaptability muscle, my skill at being able to adapt to changing circumstances, and I think that's probably one of my greatest assets today is, when I started the business, if there was a change of work order in the middle of a big project, or, something went wrong, it was a really debilitating problem for me. And I might just avoid it, or, just be kind of freaking out and stressing out about it. And, because I didn't have the experience necessary to make it seem normal. It hadn't been normalized to me that change is the only constant in, not just the remodeling biz, but broadly. Change is the only constant. And being able to have all that experience now, when I get a change of work order, or when, after day one of this kitchen remodel that I'm doing, before I was just supposed to skim coat the ceiling and install some cabinetry and install some flooring. Now we're ripping out all the plaster walls and doing brand new drywall throughout, brand new trim throughout, brand new ceiling. And hoping to fit that into the same timeline. And so, before, that might have been a real problem for me, and it might have taken me days or a week to even wrap my head around the change and come up with new numbers and figure out how I'm going to make it happen. And now, no big deal, easy. I went home after Monday's, revelation of the kitchen secrets. I went home, I just hung out, woke up real early in the morning, wrote up a new estimate, figured out how much more it was going to cost to do it a different way, and showed the customer. A couple hours, he said, "Yep, let's do that." I said, "Cool, see you tomorrow." So, new plan, new scope of work, no big deal, easy peasy. And that's not something that I was equipped with when I started business. And I think as that, now transferring that over into cards and collectibles and investing and vending, all of it, I think, one of the most important things people should think about is that the market is dynamic. It's ever changing. It's constantly changing. Consumer and collector opinions are constantly changing. And the better you can anticipate that and adjust to that on the fly, the better you'll be served in your card business or your collectibles journey or whatever, or your investing business. Because, if you just see price charts going up and you're having FOMO about, you're looking on a 3-month time horizon, the chart on the last 3 months, and it's just boom, up. Well, you might get a little bit of FOMO. You might buy at the high. You might double down buying at the high because you're freaking out that you're going to miss the next leg up. Whereas if you have a little more experience, you've rode the wave of maybe not as cool, maybe it's not cards, maybe, if you're a Bitcoin guy, if you've rode the wave of 2020 and since then, or if you're before that, then even more so. But if you've rode that wave of like boom, peak 70K down to, I don't even know what it got to, like under 20, something like that. It might have even got down close to 10 for a bit after that big peak. If you have those experiences, though, you're much more likely to look at this card market and say, I'm not going to double down. I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to wait till the next dip to buy. And I think just having that sort of perspective where you're constantly looking at long-term trends, long-term historical, price maneuvers, you're much more likely to make savvy decisions in any market, but especially in this one, because I think a lot of guys are new, and they might be like new not just to collectibles, but they've never owned stocks, they've never owned Bitcoin or crypto, they've never owned any of these assets that constantly fluctuate in price. And so that's like a really like tunnel vision. Like if this is your first time participating in like an investment market, then seeing those price charts going like this, especially if it's like they've been like this for your entire duration of being part of it, then I think it kind of gives you a tunnel vision in, oh, this is how markets work. Things go up. I better buy before they continue to go up. There'll never be another good buying opportunity. Or conversely, oh, this is the crash. Oh my God, I got to get out of here before it all goes to zero and blows up in my face. It's like both of those perspectives are very young perspectives on how markets operate. And that's okay. Like, we've all got to cut our teeth somewhere. We've all got to make our mistakes somewhere and figure out how it all works. And one of the best ways to do that is to make mistakes. So no problem there. But, I think just backing up, looking at the 1 year, 2 year, 5 year price trend of various things, understanding that there's dips and peaks and all sorts of stuff in between. There's sideways, where price just trends sideways, no growth, no fall. There's all of these things. And in the card market, sentiments shift really fast in general. So I think just being able to look at those different sentiments and understand that no trends are permanent, no bull market's permanent, no bear market's permanent. I think at this point, to me at least, personally, my belief is that Pokemon is the collecting blue chip. And I would say that, to me, it's more stable than a lot of other asset classes. Maybe not price stable, but as far as risk, I think in the short term, everything's super risky right now because, like, I don't know, bigger things going on, geopolitics, whatever, tariffs, all of these, macro sort of inputs into markets. So everything's really risky right now as far as assets, even housing, which is one of the most stable assets you could own, even real estate, all of that stuff is risky right now, and it's kind of hard to know. Like, I wouldn't be putting all my eggs into one basket if I was somebody, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. But just understanding that over the long term, if this is truly money that you can invest, and by invest, I mean like put it into something and leave it there for like 5 to 20 or 30 years, that's what investing is, then you should diversify and you should be looking at all sorts of different vehicles to invest with. Now, if you're doing short-term stuff, if you're vending, this is a little different because, you know, you are trying to anticipate market trends in the short term, like much shorter time horizons. You're trying to churn and burn. You're trying to pick up inventory at a percentage, sell it at full percentage. And so the adaptability plays even more into that because you kind of need to diversify, because you don't want to be the guy that has all sealed product and then for some reason, like some shows, I sell tons of sealed product. Foxwood show, which was the biggest show I've done and my highest sales volume, I sold almost zero sealed product at. So, you know, it's one of those things, and you just don't know what the market's going to do. You don't know any of that stuff. So as a vendor, I think you have to diversify even more, and you have to be able to adapt even more, because if you're investing like whatever you have in your collection, I mean, like the week to week price changes should not matter where you're not really investing. Aside from like, oh, price went down, maybe I'll buy more, maybe I'll double down. But other than that, like, you don't have to be that adaptable. You can just kind of like, I want to invest in sealed and, I don't know, vintage slabs or something like that, like low pop vintage slabs. I don't know, something like that, right? That could be your strategy, your investment strategy. And it doesn't have to change that much over time. It might change a little bit, especially like your personal collection goals and this and that. Of course, that'll change, but you don't need to be reevaluating your strategy like every day or every week or even every month, really. Whereas vending, you need to be like constantly monitoring what the changes in the market are every week before you go, every Friday or Saturday, you know, before you go to your next show. You got to reprice everything. You've got to figure out, oh man, I spent more, you know, I honestly, a lot of times I pull stuff from my inventory for a week or two if I'm not comfortable selling it at current market price. Like, I don't want to be the guy that has a ton of stuff that's over market price, because then you look like kind of sleazy. So sometimes I just prefer to be like, all right, I'll just take this off the table for now, and when we have a rebound, then I'll relist it or reintroduce it to my inventory. So that's something to think about. But just as a vendor, you have to be super adaptable. You have to, you know, constantly worry about pricing and making sure your prices are competitive, but you're not also like hosing yourself and all of this. And you're also dealing with people, like individual people who are looking for the best deal and looking for particular cards. And you know, you might have a hunch, or you might have like a perspective, oh, this is popular, that's popular, but really, like, you don't know who's walking into a card show. Like, you never know. And so it's just like a skill that you should really try to build, is being adaptable, and being able to you know, just flow with whatever the state of the market is and what it's going to be. You just have to be, you know, Bruce Lee like water, and that's one of the best pieces of advice that I could give you. Not financial advice, just advice, whatever. So that's the video for today, guys. I'm gonna not drag on too much here. I appreciate you guys watching. I don't know if I'll probably make one more video before this weekend. But on Sunday, if you're in the Boston area, if you're anywhere near the Boston area, come out to the Wicked Cahd show. It's right near sort of the Fenway School area. There's free parking. It's 10 to 4. It's at Wentworth Institute of Technology in the auditorium. I think it's going to be a great show. It's like 85 vendors. The guy who's put the show together has done a really good job with it. It seems like to me, just from a marketing perspective, from setting it up. All the shows I've been going to the past month, people have been talking about this show, and that's a really good sign. So come out to that. And the next show I will be doing after that is back at Lee Outlets for the Pokemon outlet. That's Black Friday weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 to 4 every day. And that's going to be an awesome show. I'm really looking forward to that. Black Friday entry is free. So hope to see you guys at both of those shows. Come out. And I've got probably the best inventory of sealed I've had, period, ever. I've got tons of ETBs and Japanese booster boxes and a few booster boxes, a few collection boxes, a few odds and ends, some sleeve packs, all sorts of stuff. Singles selection is still pretty fire. Picked up some nice vintage Team Rocket stuff and a bunch of other stuff too. So tons of singles, and then got slabs for sale. Probably my best inventory of slabs also. Really been working towards upgrading what I've got for sale in the display case. So hope to see you guys there. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you soon. Later.